the Peterson StroboClip HD. It's a tuner, and we're going to be testing it out. All that plus all the nerdy stuff coming right up, so good day and welcome to the Time Preservation Society. I'm the Dread Pirate Roberts. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can be notified of new content right when it drops. Cheers. Well, this is going to be a wicked short video because there's not much we can do with the tuner, but I wanted to make this video because the Peterson StroboClip HD is my favorite tuner that I've ever had, this one right here. And I've had a few tuners. I've had the Boss TU2 and the TU3, the Korg DTR1 rack mount tuner. I've had the Snark several times because they always die. Some other rack and stomp tuners, and tuners that come inside multi-effects processors like the Pod Go. Some of them were good, some of them were no, and some of them are now dead. This video is focusing on guitar use for the tuner, though the StroboClip HD works great on a plethora of other instruments. I've seen some other videos on the StroboClip HD, and I didn't find that many of them did this little firecracker any justice. I am going to attempt to do worse in this video. Peterson is a well-known name in tuners, perhaps the most respected out of all tuner companies in the world. They make arguably the very best tuners of all time. Peterson began in music electronics way back in 1948, which was Red River and Key Largo ago. They introduced their very first strobe tuner in 1967, which was Heat of the Night and The Jungle Book ago. They've been world famous for their insanely accurate strobe tuners ever since. What is a strobe tuner, you didn't ask? Well, strobe is short for stroboscopic, and it's the most accurate type of musical instrument tuning on planet Earth. It works by rotating discs, either physical discs or an LED readout or something, that measures its own generated frequency against that of the frequency you're feeding it. When a frequency is off, it causes the discs to spin clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on if your pitch is sharp or flat. If it's flat or too low, then it'll spin counterclockwise. If it's sharp or too high, it'll spin clockwise. That's it. That's a strobe tuner, and they are unbeatable. Period. Back to the Peterson StroboClip HD in particular. The very first thing I want to say about this little clip-on tuner is that it's nothing like a Snark. And by that I mean it's not a piece of shit. But the Snark is very pretty. Colorful and bright, I'll give it that. The second thing I want to say is that it's much smaller than you might think if you've never seen one in real life. I mean, I know my head and face is massive. I mean, I'm all face. I have too much face on my face. But that's little. Look how little this is. Look. Just a little tiny thing. So it's like a Snark. But when you see pictures on the internet, it seems much, much bigger because they really zoom in and blow it up, right? But it's a very, very, very small thing. So about the clip-on tuners, they were invented somewhere in the mid-90s and have since become very popular. They're discreet and don't need to be amped up or plugged in to work. They detect the frequency of the string you're plucking or note you're making using vibration. Peterson got into the clip-on craze during the aught-10s, and by 2017 they released the StroboClip HD that we have here today. Let's have a look at it. Just look at this little guy. Would you look at it? It's very small but has a very bright and readable screen. It comes packed with all kinds of presets and sweeteners that we'll get into shortly. It's got 3 buttons on the top, one to turn it on or off, which protrudes from the tuner so you can feel it without looking, and 2 selector scroller buttons on either side. These buttons scroll through preset tunings for various instruments and as well sweetened tunings for those instruments. On the side of the tuner is a micro USB port. Yes, you heard that correctly. A micro USB port so that you can update the firmware or download different or new tunings, including ones you make up yourself. It's super cool. It requires a small CR2032 button battery, which comes included. A funny story, I ordered some replacement batteries off of Amazon, and this is how the package came. I'd say the batteries were, very protected. The jaw of the clamp will open to a full 1 inch to accommodate a variety of instruments. The screen is very bright and allows for an ultra-wide viewing angle. It can even be read in direct sunlight. It clamps on your instrument wherever you can find a place to clamp it. For guitar and bass, it's on the headstock, just like this. The screen tilts and swivels so you can position it for your best viewing angle. It measures... Oh, hold on a second, let me find my trusty old tuner here. You know, this measuring tape was manufactured in the 16th century by Vigo the Carpathian. I picked it up in New York in '89. The screen measures 2.5 inches long, 1 inch high, and about 1/4 of an inch thick. When you clip it on an instrument, there's about 1 inch from the clip to the bottom of the screen. So let's go over some features. It has presets to tune electric guitar, acoustic guitar, 12-string guitar, bass, steel guitar, banjo, cello, violin, brass and reed, ukulele, sitar, mandolin, fiddle, and many more. It also has buzz Phaeton tuning, drop D tuning, and can set concert pitch as low as 390 Hz or as high as 490 Hz. And here's the extreme kicker. The accuracy is down to 1/10 of a cent. That's 0.1 cent accuracy. That's accurate enough to set precise intonation on your guitar or bass, which I've already done and it worked fabulously. The sweeteners are an interesting feature. A sweetener is minute changes to several degrees of harmony or consonance in a tuning preset. In the case of the guitar sweetener, the preset is called GTR. These additional tweaks allow the instrument to shimmer and cut through as only an expertly tuned instrument can. Some call it voicing or optimizing the quality of tone produced by the instrument. That bit was directly from Peterson's website. Did any of that make sense to you? Good, me neither. The StroboClip HD comes loaded with over 50 preset sweeteners for a variety of instruments. There are sweetened tunings like Eddie Van Halen tuning or capo tuning. There's one for electric guitar and one for acoustic guitar, totally separate. They optimize the resonant harmonies that are produced when combining notes for an overall pleasing sound, as long as your instrument's intonation is set up properly, which you can luckily do now since you own the Peterson StroboClip HD. And by own, I mean go out and buy right now. What's more is that there's an online sweetener trading post where you can make your own and swap them with other people and download different sweeteners. I mean, who knew there was an entire underworld of tuner heads lurking in the shadows? Not me. That's who didn't know. So here it is in action. Well, it's in tune. Moving on. Just kidding. But really, it's a tuner. What can I show you? Here's some fretted chords just after tuning the Nautilus. You can have your very own Peterson StroboClip HD for around $60 US. That's not cheap for a clip-on tuner, but it's dirt cheap for an actual stroboscopic tuner. What's that? Oh right, it's time for analysis. Best tuner I've ever owned, simple as that. To be fair, I've never owned the big strobe tuners or even the Peterson Strobo Stomp, but I don't need to. This guy does everything I need. I had a chance to try it out when I was recording with Led Zeppelin back in '69. It worked great. So great, in fact, that I suggested to Jimmy that we call the song we were recording Whole Lotta Tune, but he didn't respond to me at all and pretty much acted like I wasn't even there. The sweeteners are a cool feature. I've tried a few settings and I was pleasantly surprised. So that's cool. It's small, compact, and extremely accurate. And high-end. I'll never go back to a Snark. This is it for me. I love this tuner. I wasn't going to do a review on this, but I'm doing it because I love it so much. And I'm sure you probably know that already. You've seen some other videos, or you've seen some people use it, or you've seen it in somewhere, or pictures or advertisements when you saw reviews and everybody gave it glowing reviews. There's a reason for that. It really is great, and I've never had my guitar so in tune. And usually I'm using either the Pod Go or the Snark, so this is fantastic. And that's it. What else can you say about a tuner? It tunes. Oh, and good night, Wesley. Good work. I'll most likely kill you in the morning. Bye now. End transmission. I'd appreciate if you watch these. They are good. All of them alone. They're very nice indeed. Very nice, my dear. Very nice.